Excuse me, it's a little early for this, isn't it? That's right, folks. We are 2 hours earlier than what we usually would be on these channel audit live streams. But as always, as creators, we should be experimenting with new things all of the time. And this new time is just one of those experiments with the music you can hear in the background as we kick off the regular vidIQ Tuesday channel audit live streams with your host, Mr. Roberto Wilsanio. That is my Italian version of my name. For some reason, I'm going a little bit Italian today. Certainly not Italian. He is American born and bred with the greatest eyebrows. And as we've just been discussing off air, the best microphone on the planet. He's had it for 10 years. He sounds as silky smooth as the first day he started speaking into it. It is our gaming champion, our previous prior, far better than me, Tuesday channel audit host, Dan. How's it going, Dan?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Dan, I'm going to leave it to you this week to just introduce all of our audience in your role, what we do here every single week.
Well, I wasn't expecting that. I was gonna defend myself a little bit because you said I wasn't Italian. I actually think I have Italian heritage.
Oh, do you? You've gone through ancestry.com and found out a little Italian.
It's not clear. I haven't done that. It's just family tells me things, and I'm like, you don't seem confident, but it could be in there somewhere. Anyway, we review your channels. So the way it works, especially if you're new, and some of you might be from the new time we're doing this, you can post your channels on one of the two forums below, and then we could randomly pick it. So Dan or Tom, it's up to you. I'll take either. So yeah, we're going to spend the next 2 hours giving you advice. And the one thing we ask everybody to do is check your notes. In fact, take notes and then check your notes and then use those to help grow your own channels, because your channel might not get here. There's hundreds of people here submitting their channels, and we want to make sure we review everybody we can, but that's definitely not everybody who submits. So be taking notes. The people who are the most successful from these live streams we found are the ones that are doing just that are not really spending a lot of time in chat, and they're actually like writing too vigorously to sit here and interact with everybody.
I should remember the next time I turn on background music not to loop it. We just want it to play once. So
just once.
Fade that out. Yeah, there we go.
Another question, Rob, are you going to... You wanted me to describe it, but I know you're going to play that. Do you still play that video?
Yeah, I'm still going to play that. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know how much you wanted me to share.
What I was interested to know is I have this spiel that I have at the beginning of every live stream where I say, I welcome the audience into our learning hall, our lecture theatre, where creators get a little vulnerable and share their channels as we critique them. And I was just wondering how you might approach that. Like, I've kind of got a bit of a script going there, and I thought, how would Dan approach it? So, like, if you're hosting next week, because we're thinking of swapping hosting duties, you can throw it over to me, and then I'll have a go at like introducing what we do, just as a bit of fun.
I don't think that hard about it. I just audit channels.
Yeah. I appreciate that, because you've been doing this like for what, 3 years straight now. I've had a little bit of a break, so I'm coming in with a bit of a fresh perspective. So I do want to try new things here, but you're probably all wondering right now, why don't we actually get into some auditing? So we will do that. But as Dan rightly pointed out, what we do before we get into this is we show newcomers to this live stream, and there may be quite a few since this is a new time, exactly how this works in just 45 of your English or indeed American seconds. Welcome to the vidIQ channel reviews live stream. Simply fill in the correct form in the video description and your channel will be considered for review during a live stream. Channel reviews are free, so no need to send us a super chat, and don't spam us in the live chat. We'll ignore it and you may be put in timeout. After the live stream, don't forget to download the vidIQ extension where you can get a custom channel audit, daily ideas, and an AI-powered video title generator. Link is in the description. If you submit your channel for review, expect the following. We are sharing nothing more than our knowledge, experience and passion as fellow creators. Thank you to all of our moderators who help us out on the live stream every week. You know who you are. Give us a like if you enjoy this live stream, subscribe if you love it, and share it with like-minded fellow creators. All right, let's get started. I'm still thinking that I should probably get some of those lights again that just sit above the stand. It just looks so cool and I haven't been able to replicate that yet in this new setup. Bit of housekeeping before we jump into this. As always, we did mention that super chats will not guarantee you a channel audit, but they are welcomed, and we can see that some of you have already posted super chats. We may take a break for 5 minutes at some point in the live stream to tackle some of those questions, so appreciate them in advance. In the description, we have a little bit of a disclaimer that we can't audit every single channel because it may not be appropriate for the audience that's watching this live stream. So while you could, through YouTube's terms of service, put it on YouTube, that doesn't necessarily mean that we can audit it. So we apologize for that in advance. And unless, Dan, you can think of any other housekeeping, I'm ready to jump straight into it.
Empty head, just want to audit channels.
All right then, Dan. So I'm going to put you in the hot seat for the first channel, since it is just the two of us today. So we're going to try and spread the load a little bit. I'm going to introduce you to the first channel that submitted when the audit live stream went public yesterday. So whenever we publish our live streams, make sure you fill out the form, because if you're first, you'll automatically get an audit. And we tend to look at the earlier channels in the list to begin with when we're pre-selecting, and this channel called ServiceAces, I think it's pretty clear what it's about. It's the first channel that we're going to audit. And Dan, what are your first impressions?
So very obviously a tennis channel, which is good. One of the things we look for when we pull up these channels for the first time is, do we know right away if we're in the right place? And by we're talking about the audience that's going to be viewing your channel for the very first time. And that's what happened here. Serving Aces. It says tennis channel. That's not why I knew it was a tennis channel. I knew from all the imagery you're using and the thumbnails and everything else. So I think that's great. So my first impressions, it's hard to not want to talk about your thumbnails. I think the titles, just by very quick glance, are really strong. Is this racket underrated, for example? Like great titles. But the thumbnails could be improved greatly, and I think you will notice a nice big increase in views. So, for example, I'll just pick on the racket one. Is this racket underrated? Top video there. The text in this thumbnail, I think, is not needed at all. I think the text can disappear, and that'll be fine. One thing I would like to see is more of the racket itself. You've done a really good job of putting you in the thumbnail with the racket, and you've kind of gone torso up. I think you could zoom in much more by going like shoulder up, and then mostly in the frame is the racket, and it's you holding the racket. And in that sense, I would also test out a cleaner background, because the one you're using for all your thumbnails makes your thumbnails all kind of look like thumbnail wallpaper.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that it's blurred out. It's not that things are disappearing in it, but when you're talking about a tennis racket, which is already a really transparent item, you want to make sure the background is kind of clean. So I would go with like a light gray background with a gradient or something. I would play with the colors, do whatever you want to do there, but then have the racket front and center. You know, you're holding it, but we can barely see you. It's about the racket. You're doing a review of a tennis racket. So go all in on the tennis racket. Now, that's my first impression. We haven't pulled up any other tennis channels to see how they review tennis rackets. That's what I would do if I were you. Do that research, make sure it kind of backs up how we feel. But the text is only kind of repeating the thumbnail or the title in all of these thumbnails, and it's not doing a lot for me. So those are my first thoughts.
You can see how in their very first videos, only 3 months ago as well, they were experimenting a little bit with thumbnails. And so, you know, some were interesting. Like, I would probably argue, Dan, that this one is a better thumbnail, even though it's a bit plainer. It feels a little bit more authentic because you can tell that this is just a blurred background. And as you say, it's background wallpaper at this point. But then it feels like the creator just decided to say to themselves, I don't want to try and worry about thumbnails right now. I'm going to put thumbnails in park and just use the same template over and over again and maybe work on a different part of my content creation, which is fine. But it is starting to get a little bit repetitive. But I agree with you, Dan, in terms of the titles. I think the titles are generally excellent because they're creating a question. They're giving a tease of an opinion in the review. And then they're also including the racket itself for a bit of keyword search opportunity as well. And I think that's good. I think they've got the titles pretty much nailed on. So as you were saying, Dan, maybe we will do a bit of a search for tennis racket review. Hopefully we'll find at least 1 or 2 thumbnails, which we can maybe go after. I'd say this one has the most YouTube-ish style to it. This is really focused in on the frame, and so you can see the name of it. Text again isn't brilliant there. This one's pretty cool. I think this one where he sort of cut himself out in the background and then put a stroke effect on it. Or the other example where they just stand with tennis rackets in the background as a bit of, although that does feel like a bit of a freeze frame from a video.
The background in that one's too busy. Like that's where it would have been nice to blur them, because the tennis racket, obviously you can see through tennis rackets. So it's a tough, I'm sure blurring it, like going into Photoshop and cutting out the tennis racket's probably a bit of a nightmare. But if you can, if you start with like a clean background and stuff, you know, that can help. And that, what I mean is like standing in front of a clean background to take your picture.
I think there are 3 solid examples of thumbnails here. Like this one, again, it's simple and basic, but it feels authentic. You're getting a good view of the racket there. This one has a bit more style to it, and maybe he's trying to illustrate the balance of it. Whereas this one, it looks like they clearly have a setup able to allow them to take a really detailed, clear shot of a tennis racket. So any of these could be good starting points for this channel. But having said all of that, Dan, like, we know what this channel is about the moment we visit it, within 2 seconds. And the channel is 4 months old. Each of their videos is getting triple-digit views from the very first video. Very encouraging. Some of the videos are getting thousands of views, which is brilliant to see as well. So I would say, other than the thumbnails, which can be worked on, this channel's got off to a fantastic start.
Yeah, this is really strong. Love to see the shorts tab lit up there, and they are doing shorts. Let's give a quick general shorts lesson for everybody here, and say that putting subscribe call to actions in your shorts probably not needed. I think it pulls from the value of the short. You could probably get away with it once in a while, but I'm noticing you do it often because the freeze frame YouTube is choosing keeps including that red subscribe button. And I think you should focus more on what's the short about. Like that text on a short is very valuable real estate. And in the latest ones, is for more tennis content, subscribe. Is that there the whole time, or are you playing with that caption throughout the video? Because that text is good for anyone watching the video muted. And so it offers that context of like, well, what's the video about? Like if I'm watching with the audio muted, it just says for more tennis content. But what are you showing me here? Like that's the problem. Like it's 2 people playing tennis, but is there a certain trick that one of them is going to use to win? And such a wide shot too. I don't know if this is necessarily the best viewing angle for a YouTube short about tennis, but you know, again, there's going to be other tennis creators that you can kind of model after. I think like we released a short today, and it was about getting more views on your shorts. And the premise of that video was make more shorts, right? Because that's just going to help feed all of your other older shorts. However, I got a really good question in that video. Somebody asked, how do I keep people from swiping away? YouTube told me people are swiping away really early. And, you know, that's going to be like, if people feel like they've gotten everything they want from the short, if they feel like the value is clear and they're like, oh, okay, got it, I understand, that they may just swipe off even if the video is not done yet. So it's even worse if the value is not clear and someone swipes to your short. They didn't ask to see a tennis short. They're being shown one, but there's nothing indicating, hey, even if you don't like tennis, you should watch this. It's kind of cool. And that's where that text can kind of help you. But when you're making shorts, think about that too. Think about the audience swiping to it for the first time. Are they going to get some value from it, even if they're not tennis players? Because you're going to get a lot of non-tennis players finding your shorts.
And short form content viewers can be ruthless. Like I only need to watch my wife look at TikTok for like 5 minutes, and sometimes she swipes before the video is even started playing. You know, based on the freeze frame as it's loading the video, she'll swipe and go to her next one. Which is astonishing to see, but that's you know, whether it's because the lighting's bad or because I'm not necessarily interested in this scene that I'm seeing to begin with. Those first few images, really, the first second, are crucial in shots.
Yeah, very crucial.
Serving Aces, I'll pre-congratulate on 500 subscribers that you're probably going to hit within the next week or two. Well on the way to a 1,000 subscribers and probably 4,000 hours of watch time for monetization. So a good demonstration here of a channel whereby you know whether you're in the right place or not the second you see the channel page. And that is about target audience and marketing to that audience. So we're going to move on to the next channel. Let's say we're a gaming enthusiast, Dan, and we are into what looks to be Clash Royale or Clash of Clans, one of the two. It's ShiuMing with just over 2,000 subscribers. Always very encouraging in the gaming space when we see a channel that's already had a bit of success. And again, first impressions, what are we looking at here?
I already really like the thumbnails on this channel because they are very simple. You have the blurred background. You have like 3 elements. In the latest one, for example, blurred background, some text, and a character. And for a lot of gaming channels, that's kind of the formula that works really, really well. Not for everybody, but in this case, like, so Crazy, Rumble, Reworks, and Clash Mini. And they didn't, you know, the text doesn't need to be much different than the title. In this case, Big Rumble Rework. All of that tells the audience what they need to know. I assume the people who play this game know what a Rumble Rework is referring to. And as long as they know that, that's great. Now you have people coming in the door that, you know, are going to see right off the bat, like, this video is for me. Like, there's something happening to my game that I play. I want to know more. And they continue to do that over and over and over again. The videos with over 1,000 views, which is really strong, really, really awesome. 2,000 views. And they're talking about updates. They're talking about things happening in this game that they are playing constantly, that they like, that they're really good at. That's really what it is. Finding something you're passionate about and being able to cover it from multiple angles and, you know, making yourself an authority in that space. You're not necessarily the authority, although that's always a great goal to strive for, but an authority. Somebody who can, you know, one of the creators in the space who can be seen as someone who knows what they're talking about. They're going to give consistently good content that brings value to the audience over and over again. So this is one of those where it's hard for me to look at this channel and give like actionable tips because I think they should pat themselves on the back. I think this channel is a really good example of what other gaming channels could strive to be doing themselves.
And I look at this channel, Dan, I just assumed that it was a Clash of Clans or Clash Royale channel, but it looks like there's a new game here from FreeCell called Clash Mini. I think that is actually the game, whether it's an amalgamation of previous Clash games or not. I'm sure somebody in the chat will know a little bit more. So it's good to see that a creator is jumping on what looks to be a newer game in a series and really capitalizing on it with, as you say, all of the new information that's coming out. I remember, Dan, prior to Christmas, you had a particular interest in, what was that Disney game? But has it still been released yet? Valley, what was it called?
Like Dreamlight Valley, yeah.
Dreamlight Valley. I know you were really intrigued with that universe, and the game was still in beta, and channels have been capitalizing on that and building channels early on in its, I guess, in the lifetime of that game, which is probably going to span years, presumably.
Yeah, and that's always good too when you can find a game that is obviously going to kind of franchise itself in a way, whether they're going to make sequels to it, whether they're going to provide DLC or a lot of like paid and free content updates. That's always a good place to be. We find a lot of gaming channels, some of them want to play like more like unknown games. They feel like maybe whether they like those games a lot or maybe they can get like an edge on the competition because not a lot of people are covering that game. And the big issue is like, well, when you think about having a channel for the long term, like I want to be a gaming creator for the next X many years, I want this to be my job. You know, the people who make this a career have a long-term strategy, you know, and so when you see a game come out like this, like from a studio that has proven they can make things last a long time, like if you enjoy that game, it's good to jump on it because this could provide content for the creator for years to come. And if and when this game starts to fall out of favor and become less popular, you know the studio's probably going to be working on a follow-up, which is what happened here, because Clash of Clans is kind of old news now, but now there's a game called Clash Mini, and obviously it's very popular.
Now, I want to praise the thumbnails as well, but for a slightly different reason. These are thumbnails by association, and we've talked about this a little bit in the past, whereby the last thing you want your viewer to be doing, or your potential viewer to be doing, is thinking. when they're looking at a thumbnail and a title. And what I mean by that is it's okay for them to have intrigue and curiosity. But if your thumbnail is too complicated or too subtle, that a viewer's got to work something out before they tap or click, which takes them 5 to 10 seconds, then you've likely lost the viewer. But through the fonts, the big familiar free cell fonts here, and as Dan said, the blurred backgrounds, which are probably levels from the game, and then just a character, one side or the other, which is again is very familiar to fans of this game. There's those immediate moments of association, so that as you stop your scrolling through the feed, you see that this is about Clash Mini, and then the curiosity starts about what the thumbnail is telling you and the title. And again, I think the titles are pretty strong in terms of they're all, I think, search-based updates that all include Clash Mini. Very simple strategy, but it is working for this channel, which has got 2,000 subscribers. But then, Dan, look at the consistency of the views. 1,800, 1,500, 1,900. All right, 666, a little low, but 1,100. This creator is hitting their audience every single time they make a video. And I'm like you, I just want to give them a huge tick, thumbs up, pat them on the back. What else could they do? I'm probably going to suggest something, and Dan will say, whoa, 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 just calm down. But with it being a gaming channel and the fact that you produce content 2 or 3 times a week, and the length of your videos is 4 minutes or less, generally speaking, could you maybe increase your output? And that may come at the sacrifice of maybe a little bit of editing or scripting, perhaps as a test. I would be fascinated to know if this channel could grow faster with daily content. But Dan, I know you're always a little bit hesitant when we talk about output and burnout. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are there. Would you agree with this? Or is there another opportunity you think they haven't seized on yet?
More content is more opportunities, right? But yeah, it can have the reverse effect where now you're producing way more content, and therefore you are starting to you run out of ideas and you're getting exhausted. And so yeah, I would always tell anyone who's thinking about more content, make sure that's something you can actually handle doing in all aspects of your life, whether it's the time it's going to take to edit, ideate, all that stuff. Because more content is more shots of the target. We've traded our Wednesday live stream for a video. We're testing that for a bit. And that means our editor has to edit an extra video. Our thumbnail designer has to make an extra thumbnail. Our writer has to write an extra video. So it's, we have the team and we have resources to do that. Otherwise, we wouldn't do it, because we know it would just be something we have to produce this really fast and quick and dirty because we said we were going to post another video. And
what about a compromise then, Dan? Because I go to the Shorts tab. They've only done a short once. So maybe they can take some of these existing videos, pull some of the content from them and say, can I turn this 4-minute video into a 40-second short to almost repurpose the content?
They should do it. One thing you may notice, if you watch our shorts and our long form videos, one thing you may notice is there's a lot of similarities in what we talk about on shorts and what we talk about on long form. And that's because I'm of the understanding that the people watching our shorts are not necessarily the same viewers who watch our long form videos and vice versa. So therefore, the tips that we give might seem repetitive to the people who do watch both. But at the same time, there's a lot of people who would have never gotten that information had we not put it in short form content. So you got to think of it as a whole nother audience out there that you could be bringing your content to. So just because you make something as a long form video doesn't mean you can't take a piece of it and make it its own short form piece of information or entertaining moment or whatever it might be.
Okay, we are 20 minutes into this live stream, and thank you. I presume, was this you, Dan, or Victoria, who put a poll asking if this is your first time on the channel review live streams? And almost 60% of you are brand new to this. So welcome. Thank you for taking your precious time and spending it with us. We hope you're learning something. We spent a little bit of time on these 2 channels because it's interesting that they're both channels that are towards the beginning of their YouTube journeys, but they're doing so much right already. And so these are good indicators and pointers for many creators that like you to take advantage of. And now we'll audit some more channels. And this is where we go a little bit more random. We're going into a pot, so to speak, and picking out channels that we think are interesting. I'm going to look here at how they won. This channel is certainly new in terms of output so far. 7 videos. They have just 34 subscribers. And just on the face of it, their thumbnails are phenomenal. I'm just going to put it out there. They look absolutely fantastic. They're showing the image of a person when they were young, and then when they've seen all of his success. And I love the channel name as well, How They Won. It's very simple, but you get the idea of it. Success stories from people across the globe. Dan, what are your first impressions here?
I feel like I've seen this channel before on these streams. However, if that's right, they've definitely changed their thumbnails, because I don't necessarily recognize these thumbnails. Now, I could be wrong, but you know what I do recognize is the concepts of these. The McDonald's one, for example. I remember at the time I said there's going to be people and entities that you cover that not a lot of people know about. Certain names like Jeff Bezos, for example, everyone's heard of. Mr. Beast, everyone's heard of. Tony Robbins, I would say, is not as popular as Warren Buffett. You know what I mean? So there's going to be times where they're kind of fighting against that. I remember giving that advice to this channel. What I will say is, like, covering large apps like TikTok, really good strategy. Everyone knows what that is. And you have this video now that's talking about like how they were a failed app and then they got to where they are today. So that has some potential to me. So I think thumbnails are really, really good. And I think the topic is interesting. I think the theme of the channel is very interesting. What we're seeing, though, is still not a ton of views on the channel. Really good editing.
Yeah, and this has a voice narrator as well. It's not a robot voice. You can clearly see that there's been a professional level of editing put into this. It looks as if it is a combination of stock footage and maybe marketing videos and whatnot, but it does look as if it's of a transformational value. So it's not reused content, so to speak. So this channel feels like it's operating at a level of, thousands of subscribers and tens of thousands of views. But you are right, Dan. They haven't really cracked the YouTube nut, so to speak, yet. I'm wondering why that is.
So I have one theory, but this is not fair of me to just say this is like a definite thing that's happening, but it's just a gut instinct. I'm looking at your latest video, and there is a conversation there about how TikTok was nothing and then it became something. And that's the theme of the channel. There is one problem, though, and that is the current trending story with TikTok is that it could be banned. It might go back to being a failing app. And you may even cover that in your video. But that's like the one thing you're kind of fighting against, is you're kind of giving history lessons about famous people, but it's not going to be as relevant to who they are today or where this thing is at today. And that is like one way that if you were to flip the script and talk about where they are now and like the thing that's happening now, you might be able to reach an audience that's a bit more current, because you're talking more about like current events. Whereas right now it's like a history lesson, and these look cool. And it's kind of, if I'm the viewer scrolling by and I like what I see, I might save it for watch later. And maybe I'll get back to this, but my watch later list is kind of hit and miss. Like if a video lands on my watch later list, there's like a 50-50 chance I'm actually going to watch it later. So that's what this channel is to me. When I look at these videos, I think, oh, that's interesting. I know I've heard of that person before, and I'd be curious to, get some more context on them. But there's nothing pressing about it right now. And that's maybe where this channel might struggle a bit.
I think if they do manage to have one video go viral for them, and by viral, it might be like 5,000 views, 10,000 views, all of these videos will then get it's like return viewers. They'll find more of your content and start to watch. But you haven't got that, I guess, trending moment for you yet. So, how Jeff Bezos won is probably a very good mini documentary. But was he in the news 3 weeks ago? And I can't remember him being in the news. Same with Warren Buffett, Tim Robbins, Mr. Beast. Maybe Mr. Beast was in the news 3 months ago. He was hitting 100 million subscribers, but I think he did it before then. So timing is everything a little bit with your channel. If you are able to identify a successful person who's going to be in the news soon, for example, maybe somebody who's about to win an Oscar, like, could you find an actor who's like also a successful entrepreneur or something that's going to hit any Oscars, which is due to hit in a week? That might be a trending opportunity for you.
Yeah.
I guess from the other side of the challenging coin, so to speak, this isn't a new concept. I think channels like this have been around for a long time on YouTube. These are faceless documentary channels on successful business people. It's not new. So I think, again, it's going to take time to manifest your content. If the thumbnails look as if they're fantastic, I'm sure they'll get clicked on when you have the discovery opportunities. And just a quick look at your video suggests that they're highly edited, so they've probably got high retention rate. But you probably haven't given YouTube enough data yet to make it start sharing your content with more similar viewers. But I think if you continue to do this, you should eventually find one video really starts to take off.
I second your suggestion of finding something that's trending now, like how so-and-so, if so-and-so gets an Oscar, like you make a video about them the next day, like it's a quick turnaround. But if you know that someone big and famous is about to do a big thing, that's a really great time to release a video about them, because it'll be just natural. Like their press team is going to be putting out content. They're going to be putting them on late night shows. So imagine Jimmy Kimmel interviews this person because they just hit it big. And now someone watches an interview from a late night host, and then your video pops up and suggested, because now it's like, so let's say Jeff Bezos does another big thing, and then he does a late night circuit, and a bunch of people watch that interview. Your video pops up, and people are like, now I can get some more context. Like I'm just learning about this person. I know what they're doing today, but like, how do they even get here? And now your video kind of fills that gap. So I think there's like a way for your content to kind of coexist with these other, big stories, but you gotta, like Rob said, you got to target something that's happening today.
Alternatively, last thought on this channel, you could do a complete 180 pivot, or set up a brand new channel called How They Lost. And it's all about the channels that have failed, because you got one here about the Bitcoin billionaire, but I've never heard of this Michael Sayer one. Have you, Dan?
No, I have not.
But I've read and heard about the story of the I've forgotten his first name, the guy, is it Max Friedman? Who's the person who had $30 billion in Bitcoins with that company whose name escapes me as well? But that complete collapse of a Bitcoin company.
Celsius? Or FTX?
FTX, that was it. It's not Bitcoin. Well, cryptocurrency business. And I that would be fascinating about how they lost. And it's not so much stories worth telling, but this might be stories worth gossiping about.
Yeah,
I know that this channel is all about like positivity and motivation and success, but I'm wondering if there's a counterpoint to this as well.
You can do how they won, because like Sam Bankman-Fried did win for a minute, and then you can bring it full circle, so because it's relevant, like how they won. Yeah, how did he win? And then people click, and then you just mention in the video towards the end, like, and then where he's at today. You court this, jail that, and then the video's over. So I think you could definitely tie those two things together.
So to summarize, from the channel idea alone and the production values, this creator has potential. And I think you're just having to be patient, waiting for that first video to, first of all, crack 100 views. You have one that cracks 100 views, but one that maybe cracks 1,000 views, 5,000 views. I'm pretty certain that will come if you continue to persevere. Next channel is Developer Education. And from their @ name, it looks like a Roblox development channel, and thumbnails seem to support that. They are new to YouTube, 3 months in, about 10 videos. A bit of thumbnail wallpaper here. Dan, I think you picked this one. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, I always get excited when I see like a game development channel. It's not necessarily a gaming channel, but one that is helping people make games. And Roblox is a really interesting platform because it appeals to a lot of young people, but also people who might want to become game developers. So I think this channel could offer a lot of value for people who may pursue like a software engineering field in the future. So really cool concept for a channel. So I always love seeing channels like this. I just immediately saw the thumbnails they were doing and the titles and stuff and thought, yeah, this is like a good start, but still some work to be done here. Because the thumbnails you're using, we've seen it before on software development kind of channels where they use thumbnails like this that are just kind of the same and they change the text.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's unprecedented. I just think the choices you're making, if you're going to go this route for like, we'll call it thumbnail wallpaper. If you're going to go this route, I think the text could be easier to read. I think the backgrounds could be less busy. And, ultimately Roblox is still a very visually recognizable game. So I still think that your thumbnails probably could go into like the territory of like showing rather than telling. If you're gonna do like, so if you're gonna do modeling objects, instead of just doing a thumbnail that says models, do a split screen of a finished model and an unfinished model. You know what I mean? So just what are you physically doing? Like, what is this? What's the end result? And give the viewers that context, because they'll get from the title that it's a game that's going to teach you how to model characters, but split the screen and show a finished character next to a non-finished model of a character, and boom, light bulb moment. You're going to show me how to do that, aren't you? Read the title. Yes. Yeah, exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, a simple combination whenever you see a tutorial is that the viewer wants to see the end result before they commit. And is it possible to make textures and decals and terrain and solid modeling exciting in a thumbnail? I don't know. That's a challenge the creator has to contend with. I did just play one of the videos and I did hear a AI/robot voice and a pretty artificial one at that. We've talked about that a lot, both on this live stream and in our video reviews live streams. It is much harder to get away with that in a long form piece of content because it can get grating quite quickly, especially when it's educational.
Yeah.
As well. I kind of feel as if you want to be listening to a tutor really help you and guide you, and they can do that with their passion and energy, enthusiasm. And I wasn't getting that from the robot voice. So that might be something in your production that you need to tackle as well.
Yeah, we've polled this a number of times, and every time we do, the vast majority of the folks watching these streams, when it comes up, is they say, yeah, I click off of robot voice videos. Now, it is getting tougher. The AI has moved so quickly that just months ago we were saying hard stop, no AI voices. Now, I'm admitting that like there are videos that trick me. I don't realize till halfway through the video that, oh, this must be an AI. They said that weird. And you could, in theory, like as things move along, you could maybe change the AI host to be a voice that you use consistently that just so happens to be AI, but it sounds so human, no one would know the difference. The other strategy we have for this, though, and the better strategy, in my opinion, if you're not willing to go on mic yourself, is to hire someone through Fiverr or a service like that, where you can give them your script, they will read your script, and you'll have an opportunity to get revisions and things like that. And then, that person's voice is the voice of your channel. It's a riskier strategy if for some reason they shut down their store and you can't order from them anymore. Like suddenly you have to change the voice of your channel, blah, 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 blah. But it's more human and the people watching will appreciate that. But when I'm looking for a tutorial, especially as something as technical as game development, I need a human to explain it to me. And if someone took the time to tell an AI to just read their script, I'm going to assume they're not taking the time to make sure that I'm going to get all the value I need from this video, because that's a very, for lack of a better word, lazy way to put together a script and a voice recording for a video. It really comes across to the audience as like, oh, this person's not really trying, even though clearly you are based on the footage we saw. The general audience is going to click on a video and go, no thanks. And they're going to click off immediately and find a tutorial given by a human. And that's your competition because they're out there. So that's going to be the big thing for you.
I almost feel as if it would actually be harder to do this through an AI voice because you have to record the material first, then write out a script and then record that audio. Whereas if you were able to narrate as you were doing the recording and the tutorial, that would save you a bunch of time. But I appreciate there's a big difference between just talking to your friend and showing them how to do something versus trying to be a shooter while recording something and doing it at the same time. There's a lot of variables that come into this. Final thing, Dan, here are the thumbnails from this creator on a Roblox development channel. When I did a quick search for Roblox Studio tutorials, the vibe is very different. We're seeing a very strong gamified type of thumbnail, probably appealing more to, I assume, the target demographic. My guess is that Roblox Studio isn't just a coding monster. It's probably got a UI and interface that allows maybe younger people to use it. And these thumbnails seem to be appealing more to our audience. Again, hints about where the audience might be coming from for this type of content.
I mean, look at Rodev there, 182,000 views, and they have less than 6,000 subscribers. They did a trending video. This is for everybody right now. Trending video about ChatGPT helping to code with Roblox. So ChatGPT, trending topic. Roblox, a space that is very popular. Roblox development, obviously still very popular, still over 100,000 views. Like, just a quick example of when you follow trends, you can win the day. But yeah, I would say Rodev and channels like that are your competition. Like if you're watching this Roblox Dev EDU, that's the folks that you got to, think like, okay, how can I at least get to their level in terms of production quality? And that's going to be thumbnails. That's going to be your audio. So yeah, good luck. It's, we've given you quite a lot of homework there, I think.
Next channel is What Does Alaska? I don't know why, but this reminds me of the sketch in, I think it's Infinity Wars, where they start joking about where is Gamora, who is Gamora, when is Gamora. I don't know why. It just reminds me of that. Like, what does Alaska? I'm kind of confused by the channel name.
If you go to the About section, it's also kind of confusing.
You move to Alaska? What does ... Alaska? Join us as we answer the most common questions we get about living, traveling, and trying to figure out the what, when, how, who, and why of Alaska. Oh, okay.
It's still a little bit like,
yeah, I think
it's an interesting way to approach the topic.
Yeah.
It's not a bad, it's fine. Like, as for a channel name and stuff, I wouldn't worry about it. But that was my thought too, is like, oh, it's kind of an interesting way to like say, I'm going to be like a channel all about Alaska. So anyway, I thought this channel was pretty interesting. I think they've niched down to the state of Alaska. But that's not necessarily, in my opinion, like going to always cater to the same audience. Is it for people who want to travel to Alaska on just a 1 to 2 week trip? Is it for people who live in Alaska and are looking to get more out of their experience? Is it for people who want to survive in different types of conditions, or want tips and tricks for saving money on like heating? Or there's like so many different directions because it's such a unique place to live. And that was my big takeaway after looking at this channel as we were selecting channels today, is like, this channel kind of needs to figure that out, because I think they're trying to be all things to all people, with the exception of like, as long as you are interested in Alaska. If you're interested in anything that has to do with Alaska, you've come to the right place. And that's, we want you to be a little more specific as to who you're trying to target with your content.
There's a collection of videos here, Pumpkin Drop 228. I'm not sure what those are, other than I can see a plane in the thumbnail, and presumably they were recording a plane flying over at a particular time. It looks to me, it has nothing to do with Alaska whatsoever. That would be more attractive to a flying enthusiast. And then this plane landing looks like a UFO, weird winter lights. I mean, it looks cool. Presumably got the Northern Lights kicking off there in what I can see of the clip. But again, as Dan said, who exactly is the target audience there? Because I'm not sure it's matching up with your value proposition of trying to uncover everything about Alaska. And I would imagine the first things that you would be probably trying to figure out is, here's an interesting question. Like, how do you get to Alaska? Or can you get to Alaska without a passport? And what I mean by that is, Dan, presumably you can get on like a domestic flight and fly from Seattle to Alaska,
right,
without a passport. Is that possible? Because it's not attached to the mainland. Maybe similar to getting to Hawaii when you're American. Because isn't there this crazy statistic that more than half of Americans don't have a passport. But the only way to get to Alaska is to fly there.
Yeah, so you have to fly through another country in some cases to get to Alaska. So therefore, do you need a passport? It's an interesting question.
And whenever I hear adverts on podcasts, I listen to some American podcasts, they always talk about the lower 48 states. Presumably, they're always excluding like Hawaii and Alaska in terms of, I don't know, delivering items or some other weird things that just can't be serviced in those more remote places. Those always bring up some interesting questions, like, is there anything inherently different about Alaska in terms of tax or how you buy a house, or you know, similar questions like when somebody first goes to university or when they first live abroad for the first time? Could you put Alaska in that same territory, even though it is from many Americans like still a domestic part of the homeland? And I'm not seeing those types of questions answered here. What does a moose trying to join a Zoom phone call look like? That's a bit of comedy. That feels like it should be a short as opposed to a 2-minute video. I don't know if you could keep my attention for 2 minutes. And again, I keep saying, what does filming from the wing of a plane in Alaska look like? You keep going back to this planes and flying thread.
Yeah.
Are these puffins or underwater bats? Is that relevant to Alaska? I don't know. Or is that more a wildlife nature question?
Yeah, maybe they have access to, maybe they're a pilot, maybe they have access to a pilot friend, an airfield. That to me is a more unique channel already. You just happen to live in Alaska. So there's a lot of Alaska themed kind of videos, places you're going to. But yeah, if you have access to a lot of aerial activities and stuff like that, you might have a very interesting channel because not a lot of people have access to that kind of thing. That's going to be unique. So I would be thinking about that. I would definitely be considering all of those types of things with your content.
Looking at your about section, I would like just write at the top of a piece of paper, Alaska, and then literally write down what 5 times, when 5 times, who 5 times, and then complete those questions with things about Alaska. Like, who is the governor of Alaska, or like how much tax do I have to pay? Like all of these common questions that somebody may be asking about moving to this place, and then start to tackle them. Maybe it's in 1 or 2 videos. Maybe you're doing an entire series of 30 to 40 videos. But what we're seeing now is just kind of like a scattergun approach, and I don't know what specific target audience it's touching when you make the videos. We could go into the thumbnails down, but I probably don't need to, other than a lot of these are just freeze frames. Some are interesting. Obviously, Alaska is very picturesque, but I think more could be done with some of these. And then some of them have got a bit too much in the other direction, where there's too much text, and they're not selling the beauty of Alaska. So it's kind of one extreme or the other. And then this one, which kind of looks interesting, they've cropped off a text, so they haven't quite met the measurements there for the thumbnail either.
Yeah, so a lot of different things for this channel to work on. I would think the biggest bit of homework for this one is going to be target audience. Who are you making videos for? And it's really good to get a very clear idea of that. And then keep doing research back and forth. Is like, okay, I will make videos for, you know, people who travel to Alaska on Tuesdays because Tuesday for some reason is a busy travel day. Okay, well now you've maybe niched down a little too much. So always be doing that counter research to see like, well, is there a lot of people even out there like that? You know, are there other channels out there covering that? Do they get a lot of views? Go outside of YouTube and see like Google Trends, things like that. Like try and find, you know, try to find that target viewer. It's going to take some work, but understanding who that person is makes your YouTube journey a million times easier.
All right, let's chill out a little bit. I'll put on a little bit of soothing music in the background, because what we're going to do now is check out the super chats that we've had already. Dan, I think we'll do this in an alternate style. So I'll read one out, and then maybe you answer the question from it, and then you read one out, and then I'll answer the question from it, and then if you want to take it into a conversation. So I'll go first, just so that makes complete sense. This first one comes from Tile of the World. First, thanks. Is it normal for evergreen DIY channels to grow slowly? I've been at it for 30 months, only 276 hours of watch time, 272 subs.
Whenever I see an "is it normal" question, my first instinct is to tell you that there is no normal. There, you have people on YouTube who start a channel. There are people who start a channel today and they'll see success right away, and there are people who are going to start a channel today and see success in 2 years. Like, there's no normal, but it does sound like you've been at it for a long time, and you know, I would not be super satisfied with the number of subscribers after that amount of time. So I would say that in your case, yeah, it's time to think about, like, okay, look at your channel from a zoomed out perspective. Like, again, even if you're making a DIY channel and every video is search based, that's still targeting an audience, I would assume. Like, if you're a DIY channel that, I'm trying to think of 2 very random examples. DIY of how to fix a game console, followed by a DIY of how to fix a sink. Well, now you're covering 2 different spaces entirely, kind of techie, classic retro console DIY people, like people who are collectors of consoles maybe, versus people who have a home and there's always something going wrong, because that's what happens with homes, and you're constantly helping them fix things. Like, so again, even if you're making evergreen search-driven content, you can still focus on a specific audience. And once you do, it makes your research a lot easier, because now you get to go out and say, okay, how are the other DIY home fix-it channels doing it? You know, what are their thumbnails like? What are their pitches like? What are the types of things they're fixing? What are the types of things, like, maybe they fix something, but the video is very old now, and there's some new tool you can use that makes it way easier. And it just so happens you've set up affiliate links for that tool. Like, so now you're going to make a little bit extra money on the side. So there's a lot to think about here. But I wouldn't be necessarily worried, oh gosh, is it normal? Don't get sunk cost fallacy either. 30 months, I've been doing the same thing for so long. I can't stop now. Something's bound to take off. Like, make some changes. Start testing some things. If I was doing the same thing for even 3 months and wasn't seeing progress, I would be pumping the brakes and going, okay, what can I do differently?
What an incredibly thorough answer, Dan. You put me under pressure now for the next one. What have we got?
Oh, yes, I'm supposed to pick one. So by the way, Super Chats will not get you a channel audit, just so you know. There was one in there asking, and just so you're aware. Yep. We can't review channels based on Super Chats. But this one is, what is a good ratio of views per video to subscriber count? So similar to the last question, I have 6,200 subs, an average of 1,500 views, and it feels low.
So I don't know about you, Dan, but I would say that is not a bad ratio at all. It's about, what, 3 to 4 to 1, or the other way around. I'm trying to figure that out. What I would be more concerned with, though, is, because I have quite a low opinion of subscriber numbers over the long term of your channel and the health of it, I would be looking at the consistency of views. So if, like, each video is getting like 1,200 views, 1,800 views, 1,300 views, 2,100 views, that consistency is far more reflective of your channel health. And so try and focus on that and getting them to return, as opposed to constantly worrying about subscriber counts. You've already got 1,000 subscribers. The channel's already monetized. Subscriber counts shouldn't really matter too much to you in the long run, because we'll be honest, we've got 1.4 million subscribers, and we'll be happy if our video gets 30,000 plus views in the first 24 hours, because there's a lot of churn in YouTube education. People start, they get enthusiastic, they subscribe to us, hoping to get advice. We give them advice. The channel doesn't work out for them. They leave YouTube as a creator, but they don't unsub. So return viewers is far more important. Yeah, I'll try and keep it as succinct as that. Thank you, Joe Samley John, for the super sticker. Dan, I won't count that as my message.
Nope, too late.
I'll go to the next one. Wrestling Real, thank you for the super chat. If you get a chance, guys, then any advice would be appreciated. Well, if you've been listening for the last 55 minutes, I think all of the advice we've been offering and suggesting is valuable and worth putting to the test. But we're not taking super chats to do channel audits. So if you have a
this was the one. Sorry,
we'll be happy to answer it. Okay, yeah, cool.
Do you want to go ahead with the next one?
No, you can do the next one.
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Do cards work on shorts? Google says yes, but I can add it and it doesn't show. I want to use shorts to promote my long form content.
As far as I'm aware, cards still have no impact on shorts in the same way that end screens don't do anything on shorts. I think there may be a time in the future when there are interactive cards of some kind, because on stories, you can add a video to tap on to throw you to a long form piece of video. However, you're only allowed to do that once every 7 days, which is a bit weird. And stories themselves is a really weird area of YouTube right now. So my answer is no, but I think there will be some sort of interactive opportunities with shorts in the future, but I don't know when.
Yeah, and just to jump on the last point there, using shorts to promote your long form content is a thing a lot of people want to do. The best way you can do that is to just provide value in your shorts. At a time where people are ready to sit down and watch a longer video, your videos could be recommended and will be recommended. According to YouTube, that's a bridge they've built. If someone watches enough of your shorts, YouTube will test long form videos on them, but they have to be in long form viewing mode, meaning sitting down with their tablet or their television or just ready to relax and watch an actual long video. So you don't need to beg them to watch. Just make good shorts. Pretend they'll never see your long form content. What is everything you should put in that short? And trust me, that's a much better way to promote your long form content.
Okay, is this a super chat?
It wasn't. It was just interesting because we talk about this a lot, and I think there's still a misconception out there where people think they should, or one cheat code they can use is physically buying views this way.
Yeah.
I thought it was worth just bringing up because I saw it.
So short answer is no. Always try and grow your channel organically. I have heard some people argue in the past that they have used ads to try and rank a very particular search based video to get more views to begin with, to get them up the search rankings, and then taking off the ads. I think it was a very specific example of somebody who had a bookkeeping channel, and it seemed to work. But I've never used paid advertising on YouTube for my videos. It's always through organic growth. I can't think of a reason why you would want to try and pay YouTube to bring an audience to you, as opposed to letting the discovery algorithm find the right target audience for you, which YouTube's proven to do over the last 16, 17 years of its existence.
Yeah, it's something where basically the biggest thing we could say is save your money. Honestly, you're already here, which is a good place to be, because we are focused on organic growth. We want you to grow without spending money on Google ads. So save your money and take some notes, try and learn from this live stream, because we've used these tactics so many times. We've watched channels use these tactics and they have done very, very well.
Okay. Bonsai for Alfanga, Holger aus der Steiermark. I think I pronounced that last week. Was I any more accurate this week? Bonsai will only be successful if it's persistently nurtured and shaped, just as success can only come through continued effort and determination. We could not agree more. Bonsai.
That's I love the wisdom. I always like a good analogy.
Share more wisdom, but you don't have to do it through a super chat.
Yes, thank you for your super chat. I'm reading one. Is that?
Yes.
I've lost track. Won't posting shorts hurt my long form focused channel? So,
from our experience, Dan, I don't know if you'll agree with my sentiment with our shorts, but we've been testing shorts now for about 4 to 6 months. And I would say we haven't had the success we would have hoped for in terms of views. Having said that, I don't think it's impacted our main channel and our long form content. In fact, we've had some of the best months on our channel with long form content. And so we're happy with the two on the channel, as well as live streams. Like, we do all 3 types of content. We're just still trying to figure out shorts, and hopefully we will do soon. And then that's just going to boost the channel's growth even more.
One thing we haven't measured, and I'll tell you this, Rob, from my personal perspective, and then also maybe for vidIQ as well. I found personally shorts have driven live stream viewers to my channel.
Okay.
People have said, anecdotally, they've said, I found you through shorts. But I've noticed the concurrent viewership trending upwards the more shorts I put out. And then what's interesting is we've had a pretty big surge in concurrent live stream viewers in the past 4 to 6 months.
That is true.
Around the time we started posting shorts. We haven't really looked at the data on this, but it just popped in my head after reading this question. Is that part of the reason? Is it helping our longest form of content that we have on the channel?
Okay, we are about to decide somebody's future here, Dan. That Goff Farmer, online film school, yay or nay? I have the opportunity to get a bachelor's for free, paid for by the VA. My long-term goal is to produce and direct documentaries.
I don't want to decide someone's future. What I will say is that getting a degree is very important. I had a very rough go at college until I went to school for something I loved. And then having a degree, regardless of what it was, unlocked opportunities. It always helps, like, to go into the field, obviously, that you're studying. It's always great, but people change. One degree does not need to define you for your whole career. You can be allowed to change because you're going to get different experiences along the way. The important thing is getting a degree. So do you like doing that? Would be my advice back, or my question back to you. Is that something you think you would thrive in? Because when I picked something I enjoyed, I thrived, and I was never a great student.
I feel as if a degree I did itself was somewhat worthless, but the piece of paper I got from it opened doors just because I was able to add that to my resume. You'll also get a great opportunity to network with like-minded people, and the contacts that you get from such courses could be invaluable in the future. And also all of the ancillary stuff, like the social clubs that you'll go to, the friends that you'll meet, those are all like life skills that you'll gain. And if you're getting it for free, it does feel like a bit of a no-brainer, actually, for me. And because you're maybe going into a more traditional area of filmmaking, like producing and directing documentaries, maybe for production studios as opposed to online. I don't know, maybe they still value traditional education and qualifications quite highly, but I'm only guessing there. I think there's a lot of self-made people on YouTube, and I'd say nothing beats experience, just creating content, but feels like a good, unique opportunity, that Goff Farmer, and I would seize it. I would not only do this, but I would continue to make YouTube videos if you can find the time to do that.
Yeah. And by the way, when I said I was never a good student, I meant prior to I realized when I said that, I'm like, wait, that sounded like I was a bad student in the thing I liked. No, when I found the thing I liked, I was a good student.
I have 29 subs. I review random things. Any advice?
Cut the random part out of your question. That's our advice, is don't be so random. Unless, I mean, if you're reviewing random gadgets. But again, like, I think the theme of today and the theme of a lot of our advice is cater to your content to the same type of viewer over and over again. And if you're reviewing cat trees one day and cell phones the next day, you're not doing yourself with any kind of service there, because you're not able to snowball your growth. That's what mastering the strategy does for you. You start with one audience and your growth can snowball, because people will go, hey, did you hear about History Cat? Like, because they're great and they're always doing this thing, you know, and I really enjoy it. And I know you, friend, also like this thing. And so now it's like everything's just kind of snowballing because people know what to expect from your channel, video after video after video. So reviewing random things is a really good way to kind of spin your wheels for a very long time and not ultimately grow your channel.
After a couple of weeks of sitting down and thinking about this History Cat, I want you to be able to see this. I have 29 subs and I review this specific thing for this specific audience. That's a good starting point, as opposed to the randomness.
Yeah.
All right, Dan, I think what we'll do is end these super chats there for now. But if more come in, we've still got a bit of time. We can certainly tackle them later. But I think we'll audit some more channels now. So let's take off the chilled music and get back to some channels. Let me just start sharing my screen again.
I was waiting for like hardcore metal to start playing. Let's take out the chill music and then.
That's the next lot of super chats. I need to get rid of this message. Hide current message. There we go. Right. So the next channel we're going to audit here is Avery's movie and TV reviews. I don't think I've ever seen this on a channel, Dan, but we have a barcode. Are we able to scan this? I feel like I want to be able to scan it.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. This channel has 81 subscribers. I'm curious to know why the handle is Avery's movie and TV review. 9456. I can't believe there's 9455 channels with the same name. before them, but that's the handle they've maybe been given as opposed to having to choose it.
It's a very long handle and something I would try to pare down a little bit just to make it easy for once you continue to grow, like other people to tag you.
So let's jump into the thumbnails and the titles, and in particular the video lengths, which are really, really bizarre, in my opinion.
For a view of a show or a movie, these are very short. You'll notice with this channel, they're posting many videos in one day. Which is why I picked them. I feel like we could help them out a little bit. By the way, don't scan random barcodes and QR codes on the internet, people. Just so you know, if you see one pop up on the screen of a video you're watching, do not scan it. It's very dangerous. Just go scan random things. Okay, don't be irresponsible. Don't scan any blinking barcodes. Rob, no.
I've just won BMW. Sorry, I'll be back in a minute, Dan. You carry on.
Great. So this is why you don't scan things. So it says, I watched this movie, Sky High, and wow. I appreciate, because one of my pieces of advice for channels that review shows and movies is to give a little bit of your opinion in the review. And so I think they're doing that with their titles. But a big thing this channel is doing, again, is I feel like they're not doing enough to cater to that one audience. They're kind of reviewing any TV show or movie they can get their hands on, and they're doing so fast. They're uploading so much content that I feel like they're not going to be able to take the time to do some of the really important work on their channel to try and like end up finally reaching the audience they're trying to reach. And Rob, you probably know what I'm referring to when you saw the thumbnails on their channel. It's cool to see them doing shorts as well. They've already kind of filmed the video for that aspect ratio. So,
what I'm baffled by is why they have long form content, which is like a minute 10, when it really should be a short. And that would give you more license and permission to publish multiple times a day. Like this one, the movie Sky High is a short, but is it also a long form? It's fair, right, as well, but there's an extra 10 seconds. Have they just added like what's the extra 10 seconds? So like right at a minute, they just add this outro to force it to be a long form piece of content.
So they're not even like really using the extra time on the long form side of YouTube for anything really valuable. It's more just like a weird end screen. But if you made your video less than a minute, it would fall under shorts because you're filming them vertically. And if you're going to do videos that are this short anyway, TV movie reviews, then you should probably be targeting shorts. But more importantly, though, are they using their shorts in a productive way? So when people scroll to this content and they see somebody about to review a show or a movie they may or may not have heard of, are they going to scroll away? Do you have the sound on?
I do not know. So he's reviewing the Spider-Man 2 with some music on, or some music in the background.
Yeah. But is it, if you just scrolled to it, like what was the hook? If it started fresh, like what was your hook that you first heard?
Fresh. So he says, this movie takes you through a journey with Peter Parker, and then it continues on like that.
I think with the age of this movie, I know it's not really a review. I would be trying to give a little more of a fun facts kind of vibe to it. I wouldn't, like, no one needs a review of Spider-Man 2 anymore. Like, that movie's been out for over a decade now, I think. So there's so many things to say about a channel like this. Like The Whale is a much newer film. It makes more sense to review that because people may not have seen it yet. And if it just came out for streaming, then hey, now's a great time to maybe give your take on it. But you know, movies like Spider-Man 2, which are super, super old, no one's really like, oh, should I watch Spider-Man 2? Like, people have either they're going to watch it or they're not. Like, they have their opinion of it. So there's the trending topic aspect of this. And then there's the fact that they're covering like Mythic Quest and Spider-Man on the same channel, like TV show, movie, superhero movie, video game themed TV show. It's like so many different channels for so many different types of enthusiasts, like depending on what you enjoy. This channel would benefit greatly from some channel focus. If you're going to do long form videos, it's time to put in the work and make those more than a minute long. update your thumbnails, update your maybe your titles in some cases, but I think the titles are starting to get to a point where I like to see them in terms of like I'm going to give some opinion, I'm going to like try and stand out a little more, but thumbnails for sure. A lot of them are like the Spider-Man one here where they're like them on the left, they always use the same exact photo of themselves.
Yep.
And then the middle of the screen is the movie poster, and there's nothing happening on the other side of the screen. It's just kind of left blank. So the space isn't being used. It kind of looks like it's going to be a vertical video, and you click it, it is indeed a vertical video, but I'm in my long form viewing experience mode. I want to watch a video. I'm ready to sit down and watch a 10-minute review of this thing I was thinking of watching. I'm thinking of starting the first season of Mythic Quest. So I want to get someone's take on it. What is the show about? Is it any good? And you've kind of put together a minute-long video that feels like it was meant for shorts, but you overshot the time a little bit. And, you know, I don't know the value I'm going to get from that.
I applaud this creator's energy and passion and commitment to be publishing so much content.
Yeah.
But maybe they want to take 20% of that output and put it into a bit more thought and consideration for future content. So instead of doing, how many videos have we got here, Dan? 6 shorts, short form videos, or whatever you want to call them, in the last 24 hours, maybe do 4 shorts and think a little bit more about how you can improve your thumbnails or the type of content that you're watching and the intended target audience.
Yeah.
Certainly don't give up, because I feel as if you certainly have a commitment to succeed. Next channel is called Cardboard Guide, and this channel is on the cusp of monetization. It looks like here 900 subscribers. You know, we were talking about subscriber to view ratio. I would be encouraged by this channel and the consistency of their views on most videos, like 900. There's a little outlier, 4,000, 700, 300, 300, 700. Pretty consistent, except for 1 or 2 videos. And that's where I think the creator probably wants to do a bit of auditing of their channel, like trimming some of the fat, some of these videos that just aren't performing very well. I feel as if they're on the cusp of the next phase of their channel, given that they're about to reach that milestone of monetization. And so some questions probably need to be answered here in terms of, what do I really need to improve to take my channel to the next level? And I'm going to go with thumbnails as a starting point. So whether that means that you're going to take some of your monetized income and invest in somebody in Fiverr, maybe creating a template for a brand new set of thumbnails, or investing in vidIQ and looking at our thumbnail tools, however you want to do it. This channel's close, Dan, in many aspects, but they also have some things that they need to address.
Yeah, they should look at their data and see which videos perform, which videos do not, and then cut that series or try to do a deep dive into why that video might not have gotten views, especially if other creators are doing that topic with success. Let's get rid of the channel logo in the lower left corner of the thumbnails.
Yep.
That's
small,
very
doesn't mean anything.
It's too small. It's very distracting, and YouTube is going to put it underneath all your videos anyway. It's just a thing they do. So it's not needed, and it's cluttering your thumbnail. It is distracting enough, in my opinion, to where I really, really get rid of it. When you use the logos that are provided to you of the games you're covering, in this case, you are fighting a bit of a losing battle, because a lot of those logos are designed to be on big posters and big websites and things like that. So when they're shrunk down this size, it's kind of hard to read them. And I feel like the fans of that thing know what it is when they see it. You don't necessarily have to use the logo if you're covering something that has like a fan base. So focus more on the imagery beyond the logo. You know, that now you have more room to make the cards bigger, because you've gotten rid of the lower left-hand corner logo. You've gotten rid of the logo for the game itself. Now you can like put the card nice and big, what you're trying to show off. And, you know, people will understand what it is, especially if you put it in the title, which in a lot of cases, they are putting it in the title too. Like of the thing that it is, outsiders, sorcery, and so forth.
What do you think to pivoting to the audience's trends here? I'm seeing 2 videos about the Lord of the Rings Middle Earth. in the last 2 weeks. Like this one got 3,000 views. This one got 4,000 views, just under. My argument here would be you output enough content in that you should be maybe delaying the reason, certainly a delay of a giveaway, for example, and focusing on more content around this topic, whether it's from the comments or something that you decided to exclude from this video, but you could include it in the next one. I almost sense that the creator is perhaps not listening to the data and the audience occasionally, and they're just still creating content about card games in particular, generally, whereas there are particular games that the audience are resonating with.
Yeah, that's a really easy like trap to fall into. I guess trap might not be the greatest word, because in their case they're doing really well across the board, but you kind of develop a series, right? Like, well, I'm known for covering this among an audience, so I should keep covering it. But if you're noticing you're getting way more views on a certain series you're doing, it is worth it to double down on that content, you know, and maybe branch out a bit later. Like, you're going to become really popular and known for covering really well, like that Lord of the Rings card series, for example. And then later on, like, that could also lead to you branching out yet again, but to a much larger audience who's like, oh, I also play these other games. You know, I also collect these other sets. I'm sorry, I don't fully understand what it is I'm looking at. I'm not necessarily the target audience for this content, but hopefully my point is getting across.
Get a well-rounded channel covering their content in shorts as well. Feel as if they are maybe repurposing some of this content, which is excellent to see. And I think these card reveals lend themselves well to the shorts experience. And using the community tab as well, which is good to see. So again, a channel that's already using many aspects of the YouTube platform to increase their reach and making content on a very regular basis. Thumbnails and topic focus, I think, are the two big areas for you to really improve on in terms of the thumbnails and double down on with the successful content. But I can see your channel being monetized within the next couple of months. Presumably this, I think you're probably close to 4,000 hours of watch time, I would have thought. With the amount of content that you're putting out and the views that you're getting, you should be covering both requirements there. And so that is Cardboard Guide. And now it's time for a little bit of this. Yay, thanks, Dan, for responding to that. Okay, so if you are brand new here, this is where we go completely random. We don't know what channel we're going to pick next. And the two forms that you've been filling out over the last 24 hours, we can see there's a lot of channels submitted. 539 non-gaming channels, 437 gaming channels. That brings us to just under 1,000 channel submissions in total, I believe. We'll set the number at 575 just to try and cover any stragglers who may submit after we start picking numbers out. And again, just to emphasize that if we pick out a channel and we feel as if it's not appropriate for the audience that's watching this live stream, then we may not be able to choose it. And we do apologize in advance. May not be against YouTube terms of service, but it's against our tastes for this live stream audience. So the number we're going to pick up first is channel 171. We take that number, we put it into this form, and then I should be able to grab the channel. We'll start looking. And with these, we have no preconceived ideas or impressions. We're looking at them for the very first time. So I'm always asking, when I load up this channel, am I in the right place if I was interested in cute cat videos? And I was able to word that out in about 3 seconds. Probably not for me, but Dan, you're the resident. I'm not going to say cat expert because you have no control over your cat that just wanders across the camera and throws up whenever it wants to. But you at least you have a cat you can talk about this channel.
Yeah, always good to see, pet channels killing it as it were. Shorts are a great place for you to build up some recognition. I mean, if I see a cat short, I stop almost immediately every single time because I want to know what's up.
That's actually quite good.
Yeah,
it needed some more sound effects. It was just it was a bit too much silence there, but yeah, I get that. It's quite funny.
Yeah, they're doing some cool stuff. I think I would like to see them use the screen a little bit better. They are constantly making shorts not fully fitting the 9:16 frame that they're in, so they're kind of adding these colored bars. This one's a good one in terms of the framing, and the text is easy to read. So yeah, all of that is good. When you use like the colored bars and you're kind of putting text in there, I would say you're using the whole screen, but there's so many pet shorts out there that are, not having to do that, and it just adds a little bit of quality. That's all. But that's a nitpick. I think those are pretty good. If you can find different themes, different things you can do with your pet over and over again, like there's this one newer cat channel I've been seeing pop up on my feed more and more because I watched one of their videos. That's how it works. And they will basically have their cats stand on their hands. Like the both cats they own are trained to like stand on the owner's hands. If they just put the hands out, the cat like stands up and like puts its paws on the hands. So they're always doing videos with the cat standing on the owner's hands, and then they ask it questions and they just do a couple of cute little things. The videos are like 20-30 seconds long, and that's the whole video. And I recognize the cats. Like, it's just always the same two cats. They're always sitting on the same counter, and they're always kind of doing a similar thing. So I think the theme is helping me as a viewer of their shorts, a regular viewer of their shorts, now stop and go, oh, it's these cats. Yeah, these cats are pretty funny. I want to see what's going to happen. So that can help on the short side. Long form videos, I think you're on the right track. Giving them different food, buying them different products to kind of play with. But you can tell more of a story with these long form videos. You're doing videos that are under a minute in some cases. Like, try to set up fun little obstacle courses. Like, buy something unconventional for your cats and let them kind of experience it and get their reactions to it, and make that video a bit longer. Like, tell a whole story. Show you setting up, maybe going to the store to buy the things, coming home, dumping on the floor. The cats are already kind of curious. Then you build it, whatever it is, you set it up for them. And like, you can kind of like play around with the formats of these long form videos. Whereas on shorts, it's more about that really quick, like, here's a cute thing my cat did. But yeah, this is going to be a matter of like continuing to upload content and testing things out.
I want to credit the creator for impressive amount of output on videos. This is all I say it's long form content. A lot of them are effectively shorts, but they are filming in landscape. How many shorts have they done? A fair amount as well. I'm looking at some of the titles, and it feels as if you're trying to stuff as many search terms in there as possible. You're almost putting tags in titles, and I think that might be a missed opportunity. I want you to be trying to essentially personify the cat as much as possible. Like, do you think she wants attention? I think you can leave a title there, but then just have a better thumbnail. Try and tell this story of a cat being ignored a little better in that thumbnail. But these titles are very, very long, like mouth sounds, cat chewing, cat eating show, mukbang.
Yeah, it's
and
like
a lot of things to try and cover.
Yeah, the titles are too many titles in one title. Just look at the more popular channels in this space and just watch how they title their videos. Look at the activities they do. I think you're titling for AI and you're not really titling for people right now.
Indeed. Let's pick out a gaming channel now.
By the way, the AI titling strategy doesn't work. I think it did once, but yeah, that's a bad thing to do in terms of growth.
PlayerzWild, and there's a bit of Pokemon, Zelda, and is that Dragon Ball Z on the left hand side? I don't know. Could be wrong. Digimon.
Yeah.
So we got Digimon, we got Pokemon, we got Zelda, Breath of the Wild. So they are covering everything in the channel banner. But these are likely, well, are all of these games available on the Switch? Probably are. Thinking about it.
It's important that they are because, yeah, at the very least, that's your best chance of like getting some crossover. If you're a Switch owner, you might play Pokemon, you might also play Zelda. The more games you add to this that are coming from different places, like the harder it's going to be to see growth. So going from Pokemon Arceus to, you know, a Zelda game, Digimon, it's again, we're seeing this kind of pattern on this channel where it's too many different types of things on one channel. You could argue there's some crossover here, but even still, like I'll give you that for a second and say, well, what about the branding on the channel? Like every single thumbnail looks like it comes from a totally different creator.
Yeah,
it's hard to know based on the subjects of your video where you're going to be week after week, what you're going to be doing. So as a potential viewer on your channel, it's hard to follow you because I never know what I'm going to get. It's kind of always a mixed bag, and it kind of feels like you don't know what you're going to give me. Look, there was like a series there, Pokemon Platinum, that just kind of went for several videos, and then it stopped. So I would do some work on channel focus, audience focus.
I think this channel does have a problem with consistency because they had a big break here as well. So there's a month between the games. You've done an update, so maybe there was a life reason why you took a break. And so our general suggestion here would be commit to a reasonable amount of videos, whether it's 2 videos a week, 1 video a week, whatever you can commit to, and maybe going all in on one of these games, which looks to be, I would say, Pokemon is, I think, the game that you lean towards more than anything else. Like, what if you lean into that hardcore 100%?
Yeah,
the next 2 or 3 months, or like 10 to 15 videos, because despite the gaming chaos here, Dan, like we see some walkthrough let's play channels that do 50 parts on a game and never more than 10 views on any video. This channel is getting views. Some videos getting over 100 views, which again, in the gaming space, for, I guess, this maybe lack of experience or understanding of targeting an audience, that's pretty good. They're finding some success in spite of the mistakes that we're potentially seeing here.
Yeah, it goes to show that they're doing something right. Like they are making content that is resonating with an audience, but I think the lack of focus is making it really hard for them to grow. And Pokemon's a really good space to be in. Like if you want to grow a channel and you want to pick a good franchise, a long-standing franchise to do that with, I think you'd be pretty safe with Pokemon because they're making a new Pokemon game just about every year. I think in the case of last year, they did 2 different Pokemon games. So that's huge. And there's a lot of challenges and a lot of things you can do in Pokemon that are going to keep you fed in terms of ideas for a really long time.
A complete outlier here. The 2 most popular videos are when they react to Pokemon animations or animations from other creators, which is intriguing in itself, but it doesn't look as if you've really followed up on that. But that's another example of, again, not necessarily jumping to a different game, but a very different style of video content. You're not actually playing a video game, you're reacting to other people's animation content, which is quite different in essence. We'll move on to the next channel, though, if I can remember how to remove my drawing board. There we are. What time are we on? Oh, we're good. We're good. Still got another 30 minutes plus, so we'll pick out another non-gaming channel. I am acutely aware of super chats that are stacking up in the background, and we'll visit them at some point. I think, Dan, we're on a bit of a roll here with our thoughts, opinions, advice, and strategies. So Vintage Custom Cars is next with 700 plus subscribers. And I just look at the channel banner and I'm trying to figure out if this is almost like an antique shop that's kind of making videos of the stuff that they're selling, because we price wisely and there's fast delivery in Europe. But then I'm not sure if that's the case from the thumbnails. Maybe the channel banner needs to be updated to reflect what it does now. Not
it's interesting. Looking at some of the titles, I'm just trying to get an idea of what kind of content they're making. One on the third video there at the top, classic Mercedes W123 don't know if I'm saying that right. How to make look better. So that's like a very specific how-to video all of a sudden. Like, it's one thing to do a video of a classic car and show off how cool it is, but it's another thing entirely to do a tutorial on how to clean a classic car.
Restoration projects, that isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so. Is it a how-to video, or is it kind of a cool experience where we get to see like your progress on taking this car and restoring it? Because those are two entirely different pitches, in my opinion, for your content.
Looks like it's nicely shot. It's got like a cool. There's some B-roll going on. This is like a very impressive set.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential here, I think, for a really knockout channel. It's just going to be, how are you pitching your videos? Like, who is the video for? Because let's say Rob was right, and you have a classic car shop where you actually sell these cars. Just doing ads on YouTube, or like, this car is for sale, let me show you. That's like dealership stuff. That's how dealerships handle YouTube channels. What you have, though, is really unique, and you could probably do better to just show off cool things that you're restoring, cool things you got in the shop. And then towards the end of the video, it just so happens, by the way, I own this shop, and if you're looking for a classic car for your own collection, give me a call. And you just kind of slip that in there a little bit. You don't make the whole video about that. So it's kind of like a different way to like think about who your videos are for. But I think you're going to get a lot more people watching by showing off enthusiast style content rather than like sales kind of content. And it's hard to know what this person's doing, whether it's very specific how-tos, sales videos, videos for enthusiasts, or all of the above.
The superpower of this channel is that they have a very high barrier to entry for potential competitors. Like, you've probably got one of the most impressive classic car collections in Europe, or like in wherever you live. And I think there's a big audience for this as well. It looks as if perhaps just the pitch of the videos isn't quite right. Like this one here, a 1976 Mercedes-Benz for sale.
Yeah.
So that is just a sales video, isn't it? But I'm sure you could turn that into a really cool video and say, I don't know, how would you do this?
Should you buy old Mercedes, like, you know, or something like that? Like,
yeah, so make it into more of a conversational one where, but then you drop in during a video that, well, now you've learned how amazing this car really is. Guess what? We're actually selling one. Or we're going to give away one. Oh, that's probably a really bad idea.
Don't do that. Yeah, there's a lot of different places you could take content like this. If you have access to the cars like this, though, you have something that a lot of creators would kill to have. So it's just about finding the right pitch for your videos, really.
Do you think there's a big audience that cares about how to make an engine look cool? Because that sounds like work and effort, and I haven't got a VW engine to make look cool. But I would be really interested in watching it and like getting some sort of like nostalgia and visual satisfaction out of it. So maybe you need to turn the idea of the video on its head a little bit. And how you do that could be something on the lines of how would you title this so that it's not a tutorial anymore, it's an experience.
It's hard to know what the title would be. I just know that I would want to see it as a restoration kind of thing. So restoring a blah, blah, blah VW engine. And I want to see a really gnarly pic in the thumbnail. Like this picture, I can't tell if it's already been cleaned or not, like because of the angle. I would take it from an angle that's going to make it look really gnarly. And this is what restoration channels do all the time. They take a picture of something that's like, whoa, that's unrecognizable. What, like that's an old Nintendo system. And then they begin their work restoring it. So yeah, I would, if I'm on the channel, I'd be doing some research to see what's worked in the past for other channels.
It would be amazing now if the next channel in the gaming segment was a retro Nintendo channel.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. Synchronicity. That's it. JxShepp Gaming. They have 8,000 plus subscribers. But now here's an interesting question. So they've got nearly 9,000 subscribers, and the view counts are generally 1,000 views or less. So what that tells me is that they've likely had a viral moment or two in the past, or maybe some shorts have been really popular. So let's just check. Nothing's jumping out there in shorts. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. So the subscribers are probably coming from these clips. Whether they've been transformational or not is, I guess, a question for another day. But you've got tens of thousands, sometimes millions of views on these clips. But if I go to your recently uploaded, it's certainly more content about a boxing video game from what I can tell here. But I'm not sure which game that is, because I don't think it's in the titles. I'm not saying you need to include it in the titles. I think it's Undisputed Boxing. That would be my guess on which game it is.
It's kind of a misstep there. Like, I get the connection is boxing. So on the shorts, it's real life boxing clips that you're reacting to. On the long form side, it's a boxing video game. But those, to me, are two very different audiences. It's like having a channel that covers football, and again, like, you're reacting to real clips of like NFL games on your shorts, but you know, you're playing Madden on your long form. Like, that's not the same audience. There's probably some crossover, but not enough to justify that on the same channel in my mind. I think this is going to be a case where, like, people ask us, should I put my shorts on a separate channel? Like, I would say yes, if they're about a separate thing. And this is one of those cases where I think their shorts are about a separate thing. Now, that being said, some of those, maybe they're reacting to a boxing video game clip, and I just thought it was real boxing. So I could be wrong. There are some, I'm noticing some games as you scroll down here. So
yeah, and I think a lot of this stuff was probably from quite a while ago, because I'm not seeing any of these thumbnails crop up when I go recently uploaded. So perhaps it was something they were doing in the past, and now they do have this very specific channel focus, not necessarily in shorts. I think that's a little out there, but certainly in their long form content, they're covering this boxing game, and they're getting a very consistent audience from that.
Right. So that's good. I mean, maybe you don't need to change anything if that's the case. But yeah, I would say your view counts, it's going to take a little bit to like make that feel like, oh, my views aren't screwed up. Because you have all these subscribers, you're not getting the views you probably would expect. That's going to be a result of just having that older content pull in a lot of people who are probably interested in what you're doing now.
Let's try and jump over the hurdle then that we've kind of been tackling for the last minute or two, Dan, in terms of like maybe not quite the right content, even though it was all about boxing. Do we feel as if this recent stuff is doing pretty well? Like thumbnails looking okay?
Yeah.
You've seen these thumbnails that look like they're from Super Punch Out, and then other ones that aren't.
Yeah, like, are they playing its new boxing game showcase? Okay, so they are like looking at different types of boxing games.
Okay, cool.
So cool. Like, I think they're starting to figure that out. If we're to look at this, like the latest videos, yeah, that's pretty cool. And I think they are using some pretty interesting thumbnail concepts. So one thing I would have done differently in that thumbnail is you've taken the character, you've cut them off the background, you made them larger, but then you used the background they were on and moved it over. So now I see the character twice and it's very distracting. I would have tried to find a different part of the image to blur out just to make the thumbnail a little bit cleaner. So doing little things to make your thumbnails a bit cleaner, I think will help them stand out quite a bit. But yeah, like I like some of the things they're doing. Big news, undisputed gameplay updates and DLC that almost got 1,000 views from a week ago. So yeah, they're covering updates in this community. Are you tired of Undisputed? Try this. So that's kind of an interesting concept. Are you getting a little burnt out? Maybe you can, so maybe there's other videos you can explore down that road where you're doing different challenges. I don't know how you can play this game. Are you able to really like do custom rules or things like that? Can you fight NPCs that are cranked up to like the highest difficulty? Like, I would be trying to think of like fun challenges and stuff I could do as well. But yeah, this is really encouraging to see, like, taking those shorts out of my head. On the surface, this channel is doing a lot of things right.
Oh, can you hear that faintly in the background? We're getting chill again. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Dan, for starting all of your super chats. Oh yeah, now we're talking. We'll do the same thing again, I think, Dan, where we'll read out a message each, and the other person adds their thoughts, answers a question, etc., etc. Sean's Gardening World. Once you let Google know you have money for ads, then organic growth slows down. Know from experience. That's like the common assumption. I don't know if that's proven, but it kind of makes sense. I think, like, if I'm going to give you some money to help my content get discovered, then why would you do it for free?
It's not real discovery, though, is it? It's, you know,
it's kind of like enforced discovery, isn't it?
Yeah, they're putting
the
content
watch
on
video. You must watch this creator who's decided to advertise on it.
Yeah, they're putting it in front of people who didn't ask to see it. I think that sounds a bit like a conspiracy to me, but I have never played with Google Ads. I'm not saying one way or another. It just, I wouldn't want anyone to think, oh, I did that once, is my channel ruined? Because I don't necessarily believe that, but maybe I'm naive. I don't know.
Next one.
Yes. Hey, I've been doing YouTube since November. It was great. Then last week, right after hitting my highest view count, my reach / YouTube suggesting my videos went down 90%. Any reason for this?
Difficult to answer without knowing the details of a channel. It could have been like a trending video, one trending video that got lots of traction, and then the news story just evaporated. When people say that they've lost 90% of their views, that does start to make me wonder if maybe one of your videos got flagged for like not ad friendly guidelines or whatever. That could be another reason. But again, I'm kind of guessing. And has it really gone down 90%? Is another question, or is it one video which is getting the majority of your views, and that's more volatile? So that's when we talk about, if you're consistently getting a similar number of views from video to video, that's where there's more channel health, as opposed to just having loads of subscribers where one or two videos may go viral.
Yeah, it's a tough one. Again, we'd have to really like see parts of your channel to answer this accurately, but yeah, sounds like, because I'm seeing the timeline there. It was just 1 week you're talking about, and you lost 90% of your reach. That, to me, when I see that on the surface, it sounds like you've uploaded 1 or 2 videos that just didn't do what you expected them to do. And now you're kind of viewing it as this channel-wide problem. But if you don't have any community strikes or anything from YouTube, I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case.
Difficult to say without more detail and information. Bonnie Z, found you guys 3 days ago. Love the data. I'm getting and learning so much. Just reached 1,000 and monetized. Hey! With the sound effects, I think. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Love to hear that. Thank you for sharing. By the way, I did a poll, and of those who voted on it, 81% of you said you found us through long form videos. 11% said shorts, and 7% said live streams. Okay. So 11% of respondents said they found vidIQ through watching YouTube shorts.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
What we got next, Dan?
A company I work for wants the brand name / logo in every title, thumbnail, intro / pop-up animation in the video / shorts, on top of the channel name being in the brand image logo. Thoughts on over branding? If you have any pull in that company, please sound an alarm. Go ahead, Rob. Sorry. It's really your question to answer. I just reacted.
Oh, I guess it is. I mean, when you say thoughts on over branding, you kind of answered your own comment there. Yes, it sounds like over branding to me. We just had an example from a channel, but it had the logo in the bottom left-hand corner, and it was serving no purpose whatsoever. We here at vidIQ used to have our logo in the bottom left-hand corner for about, say, the first 3 or 4 years, and just naturally, I abandoned it. I don't know if you were the same, Dan.
I did, yeah.
We were just of the opinion of people are probably familiar with our faces, but more importantly, probably familiar with our style, how our thumbnails look, the color schemes, the fonts that we use. And that was enough of a branding so that we weren't distracting people with who this video is coming from. We were just focused all about what's in it for the viewer.
Yeah,
there are counter arguments to this. I know Yes Theory have maintained a little channel logo on all of their thumbnails, but you take this to the board and say, when you're watching videos on YouTube, tell me how often you see a brand on the thumbnail.
Yeah,
and if they all watch nothing but Red Bull, then you've lost your case, or whoever brands the content.
If they're trying to target like a younger audience, especially, like I'm talking like Gen Z, nobody in general likes corporate looking videos, but especially like that younger generation. It's super important that, like, because we don't do a lot of that. We let people know who we are and where we're from, but all the time, but we don't overbrand videos. We offer a lot of free value, and we have a paid tool, we have paid subscriptions, there's incentives for people to give us money, but we believe in organic growth. We believe that we can also grow the channel organically. We can build a community. It builds trust with the brand. It's just ultimately a good thing. If they want to use YouTube and leverage YouTube as part of their business, it's really important that they learn how to, part with some value for free, and not make every single one a billboard. You have your opportunities in each video to let people know, by the way, we're such and such company. We do this thing. If you're interested, links below. But you're going to be way more successful if you part with a little bit of value and you make the videos for a specific audience. And you don't use them as like a billboard, because growing organically as just an advertisement channel is not great. Like, you should be the one using the Google ads at the end of the day. Like, we're telling people not to use that, but if you want to do ads, then spend money on Google ads. If you want to do YouTube and grow organically, part with some value.
Right, Dan, I'm going to play some random rocky music as you requested earlier, because we need to blast through these next super chats a little more efficiently. So maybe we'll read out the comment and answer it in like 10 to 15 seconds or less. So NRD Gaming, hey guys, you're great. How do we get a channel audit with recommendations from you? Trying to get a channel audit but never got one. Okay, so the dirty tactic here for you, I think, is to first of all subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, because that means when the live stream goes public, the form has been purged and you can fill out the form, because we'll always audit the very first channel that submits every single week. And then I start to look at the ones that are submitted pretty soon after that, whereas Dan goes into the middle of a pack or at the end of the list. Next.
I just reached 1K subscribers, but watch time is low. Advice on how to bring more watch time. Who's answering? You messed up the order.
Look at your audience retention.
Yes.
There must be people dropping off.
Yes. Don't let people drop off too early. Scrutinize your intros. Get a strong hook in there, and keep working on the quality of your videos.
Old Man Gib, thank you for $20. Wow. Tip the chat mods with this. We will certainly try to do our best. But this is just a big money laundering channel, so I don't know how we'll be able to sort that out. They do an amazing job keeping the peace and helping answer questions. Thanks a million. Thank you, in particular to Slavgard, Victoria and Tish, who do an amazing job, and all of the other moderators. I'm still returning to work. I'm trying to remember everybody's who's moderating these days. I think Calvin the Unfindable, who when he joined us was Calvin, but then we couldn't find him, so he changed his channel name to Calvin the Unfindable, and now we find him every single time.
There we go. What can I do if I do game reviews and tops? I'm guessing like top 5, top 10. But my most viral video is about top 20 violent games, and people search me by violent games. You could double down on that. Be careful, because YouTube terms of service, violent video games can be a bit dicey depending on their themes and things like that. But we like to say double down on what's working. So if you found that, there's an audience there looking for those types of games and you've covered it before, do another top 10 or top 5 or something. Like, try that. Try some content where you point out, like, maybe games have some violence in them and you weren't expecting it. Like, oh, I never realized such and such game was so violent. Did you know this about Super Mario? So, like, I don't know, there's different. I would be playing with that theme a little bit. I would be trying all kinds of things.
Sidey Louise, I haven't blown up, but I'm growing steadily by a few subs a day. Thank you. That's what we want to hear. Slow and steady, consistent growth. Sorry,
just looking for more. Day One Adventures, thank you for the super. If you if you get another strike after the first one expires, does that count as your first strike or your second strike?
Counts as your second strike. They stack on top of each other until your third one when you are terminated from YouTube. But I think they expire after 90 days as well. And also, I think the first strike, the very first one you get is like a warning, but that does permanently stay on your record. So you get one warning that's permanent, and then you start to accumulate 90-day strikes, if I've got that right. That was from about two years ago, I think. Messed up stories. I can do daily videos, but when I did them, I lost subs. Should I continue? It sounds like your audience can't deal with your outputs, and that's fine. Some people watch YouTube once or twice a week, and that's the cadence they want to see. But are your views improving, and are those viewers coming back to watch more of your content? If the answer to that is yes, then I wouldn't worry about the subs that you're losing, because they're not going to watch your content anyway. But if your views are increasing, that's who you need to focus on.
We lose subs every upload, but we gain more than we lose.
Especially live streams. We always lose subs for live streams.
Yeah, it just reminds people that, oh, I'm subscribed to that channel. I meant to unsub, for whatever reason. So
that's totally cool.
Yeah.
You don't want to watch us? Fine. We'll focus on the people who are watching right here, right now, who want value and want to grow their channels.
Michael, hey, Dan and Rob, happy early St. Patrick's Day. I've been monetized for the past 2 years, but the views, watch hours, and subs are in a slump. Any growth advice? Time to try something new, I think. If I was in a 2-year slump, I'd be like, reset button. I would just be trying something totally new, because it sounds like that's a really good way. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Hopefully things fix themselves. No, it's time to sit down and strategize a new YouTube plan for yourself.
Is your target audience still on YouTube for the content that you cover, or are there new competitors who are better at presenting that content than you are? I think it's beyond the point where you should just keep creating content and expecting something different to happen. You've got to start to research the external factors around your channel that may be affecting it.
Yeah. We did.
All right.
We super chatted.
I think that's all the super chats done, right?
Yeah.
Well done. Okay. We've still left ourselves with a bit more time to do some more random channels. And so let's get straight to it. What did we audit last time? Was it a gaming channel or?
I don't remember.
No, it wasn't that. I can't remember. I can't remember.
It's too long ago.
Yeah. So let's just do a non-gaming channel. 336. Animation channel. From what I'm told here. So we have Rex Mega Hex. Looks like they're doing animations on Sonic the Hedgehog. Those looks like it's got a new attitude. Sonic brandishing guns here.
Huh. I haven't played that version.
But
so consistent views.
Positive views, yeah. And these are all very short animations. So we often hear about animators who really struggle on YouTube because it takes them weeks, if not months, to do their next video, even though it's 2 to 3 minutes long. This creator has decided, you know what? I'm going to do individual clips. These are landscape shorts, in effect. Yeah. It's almost like the perfect blend whereby you're going to be gaining watch hours, and this content will probably be monetizable at a better rate than in shorts. But it also seems to make sense to me, Dan, that you would take these and turn them into shorts as well, because, well, why not? And they aren't doing that.
Yeah. I would definitely be playing with shorts more. I mean, uploading one short and having it not do what you were hoping it would do that's too soon to quit. With YouTube Shorts, it really helps to feed that short shelf more and more content. Because when one of them does take off, YouTube's scrambling to find more from you to show that viewer. Because if they watch the whole thing through, if they happen to watch it more than once, YouTube's like, oh, got it. This person really likes these shorts. Let me just go ahead and make sure that there's more to serve them. And then when you've given no more, it just kind of stunts your growth. So shorts can feed shorts more views. You just have to continue to upload. And as with anything, if you do it for months on end and you've uploaded 100 shorts and you're getting no views, then yeah, re-strategize a little bit. But you got to start somewhere. You got to start with a handful of shorts and upload semi-consistently for a bit and test the waters.
Cool animation style. It seems to be of a very high quality of the one that I briefly played. I kind of feel happy that I'm maybe not don't have the audio on there because I have no idea what's coming out of that hedgehog's mouth.
Yeah, that would be a bit of a concern.
But thumbnails look strong. The titles look as if they have a meme approach to them, and that probably resonates well with your audience. I think you've found your audience and you're picking up views. Given the subscriber count, the views are very encouraging. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a viral moment coming soon. In the same way that you remember Jonk? I don't know if Jonk's still around, but like he had these viral moments on his content. Perhaps a little easier for him because he was covering news topics, whereas this is focused on Sonic, which has evergreen appeal, but not really trending per se.
Right. So, but they've combined it with trending topics too, and that was helping as well.
All right. Gaming channel 467. And Miles Perry, and I have 132 subscribers. And so, again, after about 5 seconds, I'm still a little unsure about what I'm getting from the channel. I've seen a bit of Team Fortress 2, but then also Hypixel. Sabaton, is that a game? I presume it is.
I guess. Yeah, kind of
TF2 and other stuff.
Yeah, kind of the meme approach with this content too. There's one video that has 7,000 views. Yeah, it's Pizza Time. You know, it's Pizza Tower edit. So whenever I see the word edit after something, I start to wonder, oh, did you kind of take other people's videos and clip them together? And then it's kind of like, okay, so what's our strategy here? Because this is a different kind of video that's no longer like a gaming channel.
Yeah.
So again, we have to then talk about the classic channel focus, audience focus conversation. Who are you making videos for? You know, because you're probably looking at that video with 7,000 views and going, oh, how can I double down on that? Which is what we would encourage you to do, generally speaking. But if you're going so far out of left field that you're no longer covering video games, and you're not even you're editing other people's content, as just an example, I don't know if that's what they're doing there, but then it's, you know, a different conversation. So we know with TF2 and Minecraft and stuff on the same channel, you already are probably need to be told like, hey, it's time to kind of narrow your focus a little bit. But especially with that edit video with 7,000 views, I would be cautioning you to really determine, who am I making videos for? Who is this channel for? Because it's not clear even when you do play video games, and when you deviate from video games, now we're getting into territory that's like, well, wait a minute. Are you going to pivot the whole channel now? It's okay to do that, but it really should be consistent across the board as to what people are going to get when they subscribe.
I'm getting a slight meme vibe again from this channel, as we did for the previous creator, but it was much more defined in the previous example because it was Sonic animation memes.
Yeah.
Whereas this is maybe a bit of TF2. I might include some memes within that. But as I say, then I'm going to maybe do an edit of this Pizza Time. And we don't know how much of that is transformational content.
Right.
Well done. I think that actually brings us to the top of the hour. And I just wanted to mention, as we were answering those super chats and auditing these channels, we do it for just 2 hours a week. But if you wanted to have more of a 24/7 access to passionate educators like ourselves and a peer system where you're together with hundreds of other creators who are on a certain journey and are as committed and passionate as you, then you may want to check out vidIQ Max, which you can see now swirling around in the top right-hand corner. With this service, you'll get to chat frequently through our Discord exclusive community with Alexi, Jeff, Travis, 3 people who've been on this live stream many times and are there to serve you but also fellow creators, and you can learn so much from just being in a community. And on top of that, you also get, I think, what, at least 20, 30, 40 learning sessions. Like basically, if you go into a conference and you're going to all of these sessions, well, you get all of them permanently with vidIQ Max. So I encourage you to check out the link in the description, or I'm sure if you go to vidiq.com/Max, is that? Let me just check. That's right. It's been a while since I checked the links.
It is our group coaching program, by the way, just to be clear. You can join our group coaching. And yeah, like Rob was saying, there are so many creators and they're just like you, but at different stages of their journey. And they're all paying to be there. They take YouTube that seriously.
Very, very seriously, yeah.
And you got creators in there with millions of subscribers. You have creators in there with hundreds of subscribers. It's a wide array of people with all kinds of different experiences. And the people who join this program have seen a lot of incredible results on their YouTube channels.
I like to see Dan and myself in this live stream as the entry point to serious YouTube education. You've seen the live stream, you've submitted the form, maybe you've had your channels audited, maybe you haven't, but you've hopefully learned something from this session. And we'll be doing it all over again this time next week. I certainly enjoyed the new time.
Yeah.
Because now it means I have my evening to myself and I can go play badminton, which is great. Dan, what are you going to do with your evening now that you have it free?
I will make a video.
Oh, that's a shame. You do video work.
I like videos.
I know that. I know. So yeah, this is the outro music before the outro video. We thank you for joining us. We are going to have videos, hopefully, from this point going forward, 3 times a week on a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday. So Dan, I believe you're responsible for tomorrow's video. Do you want to tease the audience about what it's going to be about?
YouTube?
Yeah, good.
I forgot which one it was tomorrow. I don't remember the schedule. 1 second. Oh, it's about how your videos are terrible. And YouTube really knows that they're bad.
Indeed.
But we're going to help you. So don't worry.
And we were having a little bit of a collaboration with our thumbnail editor yesterday, making this thumbnail. So if anybody's watching this live stream and then they watch the video tomorrow, which I assume is all of you, right? You're all going to watch the video tomorrow. Yeah. Do let us know what you think of the thumbnail, because we kind of made it together as a trio. We went for something that was a little different. Love to hear your thoughts. Any final words, Dan? Or shall I just hit the outro music?
Hit it.
Okay. 2 things are going to play at once because for some reason it plays double things. In fact, no, I'll stop the audio first and then I'll play the video. That sounds really janky, but I don't know how it does it. I don't know how else to do it. I'll figure it out next week.